Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Manic Movie Misfits podcast. I am your co-host, John Phillips.
And I'm the other guy, Trever. I'm going to keep this going. Don't you know?
I'm fine. Okay, now I've just...
Killed all your momentum.
Killed my momentum. Welcome back to an episode of the Manic Movie Misfits podcast. Today, we are doing a tier list.
Yeah, we're trying something
new. We aren't going to do a Movie of the Week episode every week now. We'll sort of do them every once in a while when we feel like it.
Yeah.
And instead of a Movie of the Week episode this Wednesday, today, which is when you'd be listening to this because it was released on Wednesday or whenever.
Yeah, something like that.
We are doing a tier list. Now, they were really trendy a while ago.
Yeah.
They're still sort of trendy. You see them here and there.
Yeah, you still see them around.
And today's tier list, which you already know because you read the title of this episode, is on the Bond movies.
Yeah.
We both love the Bond movies. We have binged through all of them. We've watched all of them at least once. And we always go back to them because they're just super fun.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them are super serious. A whole range. Campy.
Yeah.
Weird. It's awesome. So we decided for our first tier list episode, we might as well start with something that is close to home to us, which is these movies. So, yeah, we're going to do that. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about our thoughts on Nope.
Yeah.
Because that's what we told you guys we were watching at the end of the last episode, and we did watch that. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about, just for 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes or so, our thoughts on Nope, which is Jordan Peele's third movie. What did you think of Nope, TJ?
I loved it. Just straight up, it's probably top 3 of the year, easy. It's a lot bigger, and it has a bigger budget. You can feel the big budget. The ideas are just as wacky as ever. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. I think it is his best movie so far out of the 3. And I'll be honest too, I'm not as high on Get Out as a lot of other people are, personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally fine.
But, and Us I thought was worse than Get Out, which is a very common opinion.
Yeah.
But Nope is a smash hit. It's, for me, it's great.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
I love the kind of the ensemble route that he's going for with this one. He did it with Us, but I think this one is even better because you're dealing with bigger actors and bigger differentiating roles. I think that's what I loved about this one is each actor kind of brings their own sort of flavor to the film, because you have Keke Palmer, who's kind of the, hyped up and kind of crazy person, and then you have what's the main guy? What's his name? Daniel Kaluuya?
Yeah, Daniel
Kaluuya. He kind of has that very sort of serious and man with no name, lack of talking vibe.
Yeah.
A lot of staring and
lots of
staring and staying in one place. And then you have the another wacko person in the cinematographer of the guy.
Oh yeah,
the cinematographer. I'll just say that for the movie. So I really did enjoy that, and I think it by far has his best colors too, color palette for any film. I mean, it's definitely the brightest for sure. Mm-hmm. Considering a lot of the other two take place at night.
Yeah,
I guess this one takes place at night too, but
Nope uses a lot more like blues and.
Yeah.
A lot more like vibey colors just throughout. Where, Us is lots of red. It's a very red-driven movie. It just looks really cool. It's shot really cool.
Yeah, the cinematographer is Hoyte van Hoytema, I think.
I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
But he did I think what was so cool about his, specifically in this movie, his shooting style and what he was able to bring to this film was the way he captured the UFO.
Yeah.
The way that the camera moved from up and down, side to side, to sort of keep either the UFO in the corner of the screen or completely out of the screen, or in the screen in the frame without you realizing it, with the way he moved it to side, up, down, all that sort of stuff, I thought added another dimension to the film that, again, we hadn't seen in any of his other stuff.
And I mean, even when it gets like super frantic, it still has a level of like smoothness to it. It doesn't like camera doesn't get all shaky or whatnot. Like even when like it gets chaotic and like stuff is moving around like crazy, he still has like he almost just moves to the end point, and then like if it's in the frame, cool. If it's not, it'll get there in less than 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. There's one shot towards the end that is like exactly that, where it's just like it moves and it moves and it moves and nothing really is really happening in the shot at the moment, and then it hits, and then hey, here's the UFO and here's Daniel Kuya. It just knows where the camera wants to be. It focuses on what it needs to do and then moves to where it needs to go next, and it's really cool.
It is. One other thing I'll mention, because it is actually spoiler free still because it's in the trailer, is it has one of my favorite shots of this year period, favorite moments of this year period in any film, and maybe just film in general, which is when, I don't remember if it gives this much away in the trailer, so I won't say anything, but the shot where the two hands are about to fist bump.
Oh, yes.
So that's all I'll say, because I don't know. No, yeah, because I don't think it...
The beginning of that part is in the trailer, but the end of that part is not in the trailer.
Yeah, so there's that fist bump moment that you see in the trailer, and the moments that lead up before that is how it contributes to that one moment, and the shot itself, just of them slowly coming towards each other in complete silence. It's, oh my gosh, it hits so hard, and
it's super cool.
It's super cool, and but also important to know in that scene is it's cool because there's so many different emotions going into that.
Yeah. Because
you as an audience member, because of what happened before, are unsure what's going to happen with this moment.
Yeah.
And when you incorporate that and what I just said prior, it's ingrained in my brain, that just that one moment.
Oh yeah, I remember. I mean, the movie starts with a scene very similar to that, and it's, I mean, from the get-go, you're just like, what? And whenever it cuts back to that, it just, that feeling is just like, it's all over the place. It's cool. It's like it's well made and all that, so it's like cool in that kind of way, but also it's like really, really unsettling and like visceral. And I mean, it's a whole thing. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah, if you're wondering if Jordan Peele shies away from, it cuts away from anything,
no,
he does not. He goes into it all the way with the gruesomeness and all the visceral moments. It's all there for you to see. So
he showed some violence in the last few. Then this one he went for it.
Yeah, but it's not so much a scary movie as it is an unsettling movie,
Yeah,
it's like much like his other two.
Yeah, everyone labels all of his movies horror movies.
Which, I mean, they sort of are, though. They sort of are still.
They are, but I think less so than everyone thinks they are.
Right, they're not John Carpenter movies. They're not like a John Carpenter horror movie or that category.
Yeah, I think they're almost more thrillers, I'd say, and they have horror elements. And yes, they have horror-based scenes, but I think for the most part, I think I'll use Get Out as an example. That movie honestly doesn't have many like scares in it. It's more.
I was surprised when I watched it.
Yeah, it's more the idea of it, the unsettling nature of like just like the thought of it and stuff like that. Which is, I mean, I think that's one reason why I loved it so much when I first watched it back in like when did I watch that movie first? Like 2018, maybe. And I mean, I still love it, and it's one of those movies I can come back to and still think it's just absolutely bonkers, because it's just the idea of it's super weird and it's executed in that way that just it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
that is Nope. Be sure to check it out. It is definitely worth it to see in the theater.
Oh yeah,
more so than his other two, because with his other two, if you didn't catch it in the theaters, that's okay, because it doesn't really. There's not an insane amount of benefits from watching it on a big screen just because of the nature of the plot of those movies.
Yeah,
and the way the locations of those movies. But with this one, it is definitely adds a lot to the film to see it on the big screen. So do that if you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was again one of our favorite movies of the year so far. It's in the top 3 for me, actually, and I think it's the top 3 for you. You said too, yes?
Oh yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love Get Out. I love this one pretty equally, I think. At the moment, I'm still working through which one I like more.
Okay.
I have an undying love for Get Out, and I have for years. I have almost like a sense of nostalgia for it when I watch it again every now and then. And I mean, I think it's small. I think it's well rounded. I think it hits all the beats it wants to. But then on the other side of the scale, this one's like almost its antithesis in scale, where Get Out is very small. It's very claustrophobic. This one is very big. It's expansive. It's the bigger budget is shown. And I mean, both have some crazy ideas, and Daniel Kaluuya is great in both. So
he is, and I'm just glad that Peele is sticking to his guns and isn't shying away from what we love about him.
Yeah, I've loved Peele for years. I watched Get Out in like 2018, like I said, or something like that. Absolutely blew me away. I saw Us in theaters, and as much as it is not the best movie he's ever made, I still like it. I think it has some good ideas.
Definitely.
Just great. And I like I said, I enjoy it so much, but it's okay. But I mean, Nope was a trip.
It was definitely a trip. So like I said, check it out if you can. And without further ado, we are going to get into the tier list.
Yeah.
The Bond tier list. So if you haven't seen all the Bond movies, that is okay, because we're not spoiling them. We're just going to talk about we'll try not to spoil them.
If not, we'll just say spoilers for the next 2-ish minutes or something.
Yes. So for the most part, we'll refrain from heavy spoilers for sure.
Yeah. So how many things do we have? We have S, A, B, C.
Yeah, so if you I'm sure a lot of you have seen tier lists on Instagram or YouTube or something, but basically there is 5 sections. The top section is S, followed by A, B, C, and D. So S is your top tier, 10 out of 10, best of the best movies, and then obviously going down, they get worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, without further ado, I don't know how you want to do this, TJ. I'm thinking we just go through from 1 to 25.
Yeah, I have them listed in terms of release. So we can just go through like that, and then we'll just talk.
And you didn't include the Never Say Never Again, or did you?
I did.
Oh, you did, so 26.
27.
Oh, 27. What was?
Casino Royale. 2 of them.
Oh, you included the other Casino Royale too.
Yeah, those 2 are at the end.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. 27. Epic.
You know it.
TJ was on the ball.
I was on the hunt.
He knew how to include those. And yes, we have seen all of these. First of all,
yes,
even those 2, the ones that aren't technically Bond canon, we have seen.
Yeah, part of the main 25.
Yes. Okay, let's start with Dr. No.
The original classic. So,
for me, I would put this at an A.
Same. I think that was my thing. As I was kind of going through them as I was putting them all in the tier list. I think it's an easy A for me. I mean, it's the original classic. It does a lot of the beats right.
It does the beats right, and there isn't truly any there is no major and really no minor flaws in the film. It consistently moves and stays on track. And although it's not what Goldfinger was, and Goldfinger, we can talk about this when we get to it, how Goldfinger really established a lot of the sometimes tropes and formula for Bond movies going forward, it still had some of them, but also just it moved.
Yeah. I mean, Sean Connery, it shows how much of a great actor as Bond he is. Dr. No is a great villain. The Bond girl is, I think she's honestly a little forgettable in my opinion.
Interesting.
I get the look is iconic, but I think as a character, I think she's kind of boring.
That's okay. Yeah, I actually probably agree with that. But I would say, yeah, okay, I would agree with that. But yeah, she is iconic. I mean,
she's iconic in idea. I think in execution, there's a few flaws with her character.
Yes, I concur. I mean, because the reason I wouldn't forget her is just obviously, like you said, the costume, but also I always think of the song that she sings. Whenever I think of Bond girls, I think of her. When I think of her, I think of she comes up because of that song.
Yeah,
and I don't want to say the lyrics because I don't know them, but it always kind of rings in my head, and of course, like you said, the costume, which is iconic.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, we have From Russia with Love. So for me, this is an interesting one because the first third of this film, to me, isn't quite there with the last 2/3. The first third for me is kind of struggles at points where I'm trying to grapple on to the film, but there are moments where it loses me. And then, like I said, those last 2/3 really hit. So, but with how much those last 2/3 hit, I would put it in A.
I've always liked this one. This has always been my favorite Sean Connery movie, and I think it's, I think it's arguably one of his best as well. So, yeah, I don't have the struggle at the beginning. I consistently I enjoy it through and through. I mean, it's one of the ones I've seen. Have I seen that one the most times? I don't even know. It's one of them though. I mean, the train's whole section is great, and
oh my gosh, that holds up today. That whole train fight sequence where they're in the the little room in the car.
It's awesome.
And it goes on for quite a while, the fight scene does. Mm-hmm. And it never... One thing that's appealing to it that a lot of other fight scenes at the time did is it never cut away for trickery reasons to try to exclude a stunt double or some item that a character was holding or wasn't holding in the fight. It shows the fight in full. Yes, of course it is in dark, but still, it never is afraid. It never cuts away.
Yeah, it's always been one of those action scenes I just love. It's I mean, for its time, I think it's very advanced for its time.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, every time I watch it, I love it. It's truly something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, really great choreography and all of that. So we both agree A?
A, yes.
Okay. Next, we have Goldfinger. Now, I think this is an S movie. I think so. Because it ultimately, as I said, it starts the Bond formula and what we know of Bond movies for until now.
Yeah.
With all the exquisite set pieces, you have that. I think what might be my all-time favorite Bond set piece. It's one of them. Set design. It's not set piece. Set design is Goldfinger's house.
Oh, it's so
and
cool.
The wood and the metal and the way it's the shapes and everything. It's exquisite, and the way it kind of rotates. But then you also have the cars. You have the cinematography, which is great.
Yeah.
I think it is an S.
Yes, I've grown to like this movie a lot more over time. If you were to ask me originally where I would put it, I'd probably put it in A, maybe even B. I was like, yes, I get where all the tropes come from, but like at the same time, I didn't really understand the hype. And then over like the course of I watched it with you, and I was like, okay, this is a lot better than I remember. Then I watched it we watched it again like
we did with
last year.
I think Parker, wasn't it?
Something like oh yeah,
it wasn't Parker.
We watched it 2 more times because we watched it once with Austin and then once with Parker.
That's right.
So yeah, it's one of those ones where every time I watch it, I'm like, I like this a lot more, and I think it's funny. I think it's campy in a good way. Yeah, I mean, you can't be Odd Job and Goldfinger and all that. It's fantastic.
It is. And people might go to Odd Job and say, oh, well, that necessarily wasn't the greatest acting portrayal necessarily, so there's all these different flaws in it. And what I would say to that is no, because if we're speaking in terms of what the Bond formula is,
goofy sidekicks are the way to go.
It's the way to go, and I think that from that standpoint, he was portrayed how he should have been portrayed.
Yeah, it kind of falls into that almost campy, good campy vibe, where the idea of Odd Job is goofy. I mean, all of his facial expressions are goofy, but like that's almost the appeal of it.
Yeah,
there's nothing. I've never had a problem with Odd Job. I mean, he's probably one of the most iconic Bond characters ever, and I think for good reason.
Yes, 1,000%. And yeah, and then you also have the extremely iconic shot of the girl with the gold over her.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, a lot of this movie is just iconic beyond belief.
It is. So we both agree S?
I agree S now.
Okay. Yeah, that is a great point, TJ, the first time I watched it, I thought Thunderball was better, actually. I remember thinking that. I was like, I think I like Thunderball. I think Thunderball's more the first time. Better. I enjoy it more, but
as a movie, it's a lot better. Or Goldfinger's a lot better than Thunderball.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It is crazy how age and the amount of times you watch it, and how many times you watch it changes that film. Because and I think it's also better. We understand it more because we've seen all of them too, and then when we look back at it, we're like, oh my gosh, that is an S Bond movie.
Yeah, it's the class. It's like Doctor No is like iconic, and it's like the thing that started it all. But I think the series truly kicks off with Goldfinger.
1,000%.
Or like it becomes its own in Goldfinger.
Agreed. Next, we have good old Thunderball. Speaking of Thunderball, we have Thunderball. This one.
This is a B for me.
I would agree. It also for me has some problems, like From Russia at the beginning of Thunderball.
Yeah.
I feel as if it loses touch at points with where it wants to go, but and also, to be honest too, there is some sections when they're actually on the island that are kind of aimless in some regards.
Yeah, this is the one where I think the plot kind of just moves along, and not a lot happens for a long time.
Yeah,
'cause, I mean the movie, I think this is the longest one up to that point, and I think it's like 2:15 in terms of like a hour and minute. And I feel like for a solid bit of that movie, it kind of just meanders through plot points.
Yeah.
It's just like Bond kind of just stumbles into where he needs to go.
It's like, oh, here he is driving with that one chick, and they're gonna drive for 5 minutes, and in the movie, so cool.
Yeah, it's just like he does something, and then conveniently something else happens. Like it's a very plot convenient movie, but I think it works a lot more than something like Rise of Skywalker, which has a ton of it as well. Because
you mean the greatest Star Wars movie of all time?
Oh, the best one, absolutely.
Hold for applause.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's something about Thunderball that it's almost charming, and it adds to its appeal, where it's just like, it's fun, it's goofy, it's stupid, it has underwater action scenes.
The underwater action scene's funny because
it's awesome, but at the same time it's goofy.
Yes. The first time you watch it, all you could think about, this is goofy and stupid.
Yeah.
And then you watch it a second and a third time, and you realize this is choreographed extremely well.
Yeah. Wait, how many times have we seen this movie?
For together, I think together it's been twice.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought too.
But I mean, we've seen it on our own other times too.
Yeah, I think overall I've seen it 3.
Yeah, I think I've seen it 3 or 4. But when you watch that underwater fight scene a second time and a third time, you realize this is extremely well choreographed.
It's so cool.
It's so cool because the way how they were able to do that with everyone underwater. I mean, you can't speak to people underwater like you can obviously above air. Once you're down in the tanks or wherever they film that, you're down in the tanks.
Yeah.
And you're doing that shot. There's no, hey, let's pause for a second. You have to do it.
Yeah.
So for them to have it as seamless and as action-packed and as fun as it is with all those extras and all those people, dude, and also just shot really well, too. It's awesome.
Yeah. There's some parts of Thunderball that are absolutely amazingly shot.
Oh my gosh.
It's surprising how much they were able to do in such a short amount of time, because I mean, a lot of these came out, like, I think the first 4 come out back to back in terms of years, and it's crazy to think that they could choreograph something like that in like less than a year, ish. I mean, compared to James Cameron, who's taken 10 years to make a movie about water.
Man,
it's cool. I love it, and I think it just feels it's bigger. It's crazy in a fun way. I love it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, we are going to take a break, and then we are going to come back and start up with You Only Live Twice.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
All right, we are back.
Yeah.
And we're still on Sean Connery. So far, well, actually, I'll recap after every Bond.
Yeah.
Bond character. I'll recap. So, we are now on to You Only Live Twice. No, we got something better. Ninjas. This takes place in Japan?
Yes, it's Japan.
Japan. And
it's the entrance of Blofeld.
Extremely silly. This is by far the silliest out of the 4. Out of the 5 so far. Yes. By far. Yeah, this is the first Bond movie that, again, is extremely silly, because you have this, you see this kind of silliness then moving forward in Octopussy and A View to a Kill.
Yeah.
This is really that first one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. I want to say C.
I would agree. I think it's C. The reason I would put it at C is because I don't feel comfortable putting it next to Thunderball. Because Thunderball, as we mentioned, had so many positives, and that underwater fight scene, I don't want that underwater fight scene
to go
being matched with You Only Live Twice.
Yeah. I think it, as a viewing experience, it's super fun.
Oh my gosh.
The two of us quote it constantly.
It's one of those movies that TJ and I have always wanted to show our friend group, because we love watching meme movies, and this is literally the definition of that.
It's so stupid. It's funny, while also being weirdly iconic, because, I mean, you have the entrance of the most iconic villain of the series.
Yes.
And all these, a few of those ideas are very, like, iconic. Like, I mean, the helicopter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But also you have Bond training with ninjas, and it's super stupid. And I think the main gripe with this one is this movie has not aged well. It is aged awfully. A lot of these parts of these movies have not aged well. I think this
Goldfinger, there are some moments that have aged extremely terribly.
Oh yeah, I'd say even Thunderball too.
Oh yeah, Thunderball. Yeah. It's just, unfortunately, that's how Ian Fleming wrote the character, and that was the time.
I mean, yeah, the world was different in the 60s.
Yeah.
And
TJ and I, we want to be clear, we don't excuse that, but at the same, of course not. But again, we kind of just have to look past that in order to rank these. We can't just all downgrade them because of that. Like, we still want to incorporate the other parts of the film, and but we just do. Yeah, obviously we don't.
Yeah, it aged like awfully. That. And yes. I mean, it's a glaring issue that it comes with being made in the 60s.
Yeah, and when we even talk about, I even bring that up too, right? When we did the Goldfinger Thunderball one, I was like, this is. I made everyone know that. Yeah. Made it sure everyone knew that. Yeah, that was just extremely awkward and terrible to.
Yeah, it's kind of cringy in the moment. It is cringy in the moment.
Yeah.
And when you look back on it, it's not good, but
no.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. That is You Only Live Twice. Now we have a movie that we literally just watched less than like a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Which is On Her Majesty's Secret Service and is George Lazenby's only Bond movie.
Yeah.
This one's a funny one because it is extremely different compared to all the movies that surround it. It's paced differently.
I'd say it's probably one of the most unique Bond movies just in general.
Oh, it's even more different than the Craig ones as well, which are more similar to this one with its a lot of times more serious tones.
Yeah.
And especially how this one ends, but it is exactly. It is, as you said, DJ, it's completely unique.
Yeah. Compared to everything around it at this time, it's a lot. Yeah, like you said, it's a lot slower. It does kind of have that goofy edge where George Lazenby's always like cracking jokes and saying one-liners and all that. But a lot of the tones of the movie are a lot darker.
Oops.
Especially with like the end and all that, which I think is truly one of my favorite endings to a Bond movie, easily. It might honestly. I know I was gonna say it might be my favorite, but it's definitely up there.
Interesting.
I love the ending of this movie. Not because it's like crazy, but like I think it's a good way to like end it.
So you are really high on this movie, TJ.
I like this movie a lot more on rewatch.
I liked it less than I thought I would have after the rewatch, but I did like it more. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It is. You made a great parallel, TJ, to the movie Bullet, if you guys are aware of that film, as far as understanding plot, because this is really the only Bond movie where you have to pay attention to pretty much every sentence, because you'll have, let's say you'll have 10 sentences in this monologue or this conversation, and only one of those sentences will be important, but it goes like, it's gone. Yeah. So you have to pay attention, otherwise you are not going to know what's going on.
You're not understanding
20 minutes later.
Yeah. It's it loosens up towards the end. But like at first, like half is like you have to be dialed in. It's a movie you have to truly pay attention to. It's not a background watch. I am fully in the moment doing my thing. And I like that with it. I think it's a nice flavor for this movie.
So where would you put it? You personally?
Personally? Okay, let's see.
I love how TJ's looking at the...
I have to look through the
reflection of the...
I think
Caddyshack poster.
If it were yesterday, I would have put it in B, but I think today I would put it in an A.
Okay. I would put it in B. So, since I really appreciate, TJ, your enthusiasm and your love for it, and of course, again, how much I love Bond, I will accept A. Put it in A.
One thing I will say, this is a what was the one? Oh, like From Russia. This movie has really good action for its time. Like the way it's like shot and all that. Most of it.
I did notice that as well. What really took me off guard was that first fight scene, where it's not the first fight scene. It's the fight scene where he's in the hotel room at the very beginning.
The second one, yeah.
They very much like From Russia. They never shy away.
Yeah,
and it's I thought it was again really well choreographed, and
it's well choreographed, and it feels a lot more just like it feels a lot more crazy, and like it almost feels more visceral. Like it feels like he's going for it. And it's just like,
and that also is helped by the fact that there is no cheap tricks in this, because I can't stress enough, and TJ, with movies that we have seen, there are plenty of movies around this time where there is easy cheap ways to get around certain moments in fighting for other films of this time, but it neglects that.
It's super cool. I love it.
What were the fight scenes you were saying, TJ, that it kind of struggles with? You were saying that just a couple seconds ago.
Oh, I was going to say, like, yes, it falls prey to like the weird editing cuts of action scenes.
Oh yeah,
where like people like just jump in there magically back on the ground.
Oh right.
Yeah, it's just like or there's one like I want to say like 3/4 of the way through the movie where a guy like literally just in the middle of a scene like teleports.
Yeah,
and it's just like that's weird, but for the most part, it's really cool. Mm-hmm. And I will give total credit to it because I truly love it.
Okay. Also, quick shout out to TJ. He was the one that put this tier list together. Good job, TJ. You deserve an applause, my friend. TJ gets an applause.
I can't stress enough how much I want this award. Thank you for this Oscar for tier lists.
No, TJ. I was hoping you'd do the Joe Pesci speech from Goodfellas.
Thank you.
Just walk off set and leave. You just go home to your house. All right, guys, I'm doing this by myself. I don't know what your thoughts on this is, TJ, but in my opinion, when I rewatched this, I felt like the script was doing more work than Lazenby at times.
Yes and no. I think Lazenby has a charm. I mean, I for those who don't know, this is Lazenby's like only big movie. And this was his first movie too.
And he's from the land down under too.
He's not even English.
No.
I think for it being what it is with him, I personally really like Lazenby. I think he's super there's something about him that he's super funny, like in his quips. And I like his emotions toward the end, and I feel like he has a nice he has a balanced energy. Yes, he has some stiff moments, but I think that's also like directing.
Okay.
Because there's some moments where he really cooks. There's some parts where he really doesn't. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there are some parts where the editing does not help him. Because
that's true.
Partly because this movie's already 2.5 hours long. And they can't make Zodiac right here. It can't be that long.
No.
So they have to like edit scenes really fast. And that shows in some scenes. But I think he has a charm that I think he does his best kind of impersonating that Connery energy.
Okay.
I think he adds like his own little flavor to it, which I think is cool.
I think it's cool. I think that's what I want to say about it. And yeah, I will accept it with A. All right, moving on. I'll accept it. Moving on, we have Sean Connery's back. He left, for those that are wondering, he left because he was having disputes, I think money disputes with...
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. That big stars normally have with Eon Productions and the Broccolis. So he left, and that's why Lazenby came in. And Lazenby was actually going to continue, or the Broccolis were fine with him continuing, but he didn't want to.
No, it wasn't him who...
Oh, what was it?
He didn't... It's not that he didn't want to. It's because his manager said, you'll get bigger doing other things.
Oh, yeah,
and so
right.
he took that opportunity. Because I think they said he could have made like 3 or 4 more Bond movies. But his manager essentially said, hey, you'll get more fame doing other stuff. Then he didn't. Yeah. And then they brought back Sean Connery.
Okay, that's right. That is I kind of have a love-hate for that. I love it because it's Sean Connery.
Yeah.
But I hate it because it would have been cool to see him at least give it one more shot and try a different environment and see how he reacted to that and a different director. But hey, it's okay because we got Sean Connery and he's back in his last Bond canon film. He's in one more.
Yeah.
Never Say Never Again, which is essentially just a remake of Thunderball, but
that's besides the point.
That's besides the point. We are on Diamonds Are Forever. This film was a childhood film for me. It was one of the first Bond movies that I watched and kept watching over and over again.
Yeah. And
there are some parts that I really like that I think still work today. Mm-hmm. But then there's a lot that doesn't.
Yeah.
One part of the film that I do really want to shout out is the Bond henchmen, the duo for this one.
Yeah, they're interesting. I like them.
I think they are. I think they're more than interesting. I think they're flat out good.
Oh yeah, well that's what I meant. They're great. Yeah,
because they add this. Yes, they are quirky, but in a good way, and they add
odd job quality.
Odd job quality. But they are more. What I love about them is they're more sinister. They're not just kind of wacky and quirky. You actually feel like they could mess things up and screw and really mess up Bond. Not in the hand to hand combat sense, but sort of they're not afraid to do whatever to this guy.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about them. And so I think that's good, but as I mentioned, there's a lot of just sort of stuff that does not work with this film.
Yeah, I don't. When I watch this movie, I don't hate it. I don't hate the movie, but like, there's not a lot that I like dislike when I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's one of those ones where I step back and I'm like, this really isn't as good as I remember it being.
No, there's a lot of puzzling moments. There's the fight with the two girls in the one house where you suddenly question, wait, why is this happening right now? How does this necessarily help the plot in any way?
Yeah.
Sort of things like that. Like I said, there are other cool moments.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the one part that I really love is when he's going up to the Blofeld sort of top level suite.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
There's a lot of really smart camera placements to make it look like he's up that high.
Yeah.
And sort of like Charlie Chaplin has done with some of his shots in his films. I love that.
Yeah, there's some parts that are well made. And I mean, it's definitely an interesting movie to watch, and I definitely enjoy it. It's not the best one.
Yeah, I put it as C.
I'd say, yeah. Is that where?
That's where You Only Live Twice is.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if we put. I'm trying to think if I don't say it out loud because I don't know yet, but I don't know if we're gonna put any in D, but we'll see. We'll see.
Wait, I have a glaring.
Oh, do you have
a thought we will?
Oh, you think there's some in there
towards
he might?
the end, yeah.
Towards the end,
you'll see.
Okay. Yeah, never mind. I forgot there's a certain Bond character that didn't get the greatest written films, so never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you will make it a point to put some D.
Yeah,
in there.
TJ knows my thoughts on some of the writing for
Pierce
Brosnan movies outside of GoldenEye. All right, we are done with the Connery films.
Connery-wise,
do we want to do Never Say Never again right now and just get it over with?
No, I'll do it at the end.
You want to do it at the end? No, but we should end. I want to end with No Time to Die, though.
Okay, let's just do the two spin-offs right now.
Okay, good idea. If you're fine with that. I feel like we should end with a bang, and that's a bang.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I overrode the podcast there because I'm just that good.
Yeah.
We have technically the second Casino Royale. So Casino Royale is interesting.
Yes, it is.
It is. There are technically three Casino Royale sort of
things.
Media, TV show, movie things. So the first one is a TV show episode.
Yeah, it's an episode for an anthology series. And it's only like 50 minutes long, and they rework it in weird little ways. Like I think they make Bond American. And like there's some weird little writing things, but it's still pretty close to the book. It follows a lot of the same plot points. And then they remade it into the 60s movie, which is a comedy movie with Peter Sellers.
Yeah, this is the one we're talking about currently right now that we're about to rank.
About to talk about. And then there's the Daniel Craig one,
which is
an actual one.
Debatably the best Bond movie of all time.
Yes.
It's kind of funny that I literally brought up 10 seconds ago. Are we going to have any D movies? This for me is a D movie.
Oh yeah, God, easily. It's so bad. There's some funny parts to it because it's really bad. There's some parts that are funny intentionally and unintentionally.
Isn't there a moment where they're not in this? Oh my gosh, all the memories are flooding back to me right now of watching this movie. I know there's a whole bit where he's almost in this haunted house like.
I don't remember.
Bit. Remember because there's this dark house thing, and then there's
it's just a really bad comedy movie.
Oh,
I remember at the end everyone blows up.
That was wild.
That is insanity. I remember when that was happening and all of us were losing our minds because it's so funny.
Basically, at the end, everything goes to hell. Everyone's running around and screaming and yelling, and
I love it.
I accidentally put Never Say Never Again there.
Are you going to put Never Say Never Again there anyway?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love how I say, are we going to have any D movies? Yes, John.
Put two in.
Yes, there are plenty of D. There's not plenty, but there are a few D movies in this collection.
Yeah, I don't hate this movie, but I don't Never Say Never, but I definitely don't love it. It's one of the ones I'm like, I'd watch it again out of curiosity, but I don't have a drive to rewatch it like any of the other ones.
The one word that comes to mind when I think of this movie is bland.
Because it is.
Because it is. And there's no singular moment that attracts me to this film or adds any uniqueness to it. For example, now Thunderball has some more moments, but I keep going back to that ocean, the underwater fight sequence.
Well, it's a remake of that movie.
It's true. It's a remake of that movie. There is nothing one moment or a couple of moments where I can grapple and be like, okay, it's not, obviously it's one of the worst Bond movies, but there are some moments. This one, for me, there never was that clear moment. I was just sitting there emotionless and kept thinking, this is a Thunderball remake. And there's nothing that's, even Sean Connery feels off too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a different production company. It feels different, which is weird because, I mean, it's by the guy who made Empire Strikes Back. So
that is a good point to bring up.
It should be a lot better than it actually is. That being said, there are some of the action in this movie is decently cool. Like they definitely update it to 80s action at times, and it kind of works. Like there's a fist fight in the hospital. That's actually kind of cool, and there's a car chase in the middle that I kind of enjoyed, but the rest of the plot is just really bland and boring.
Mm-hmm.
And they waste Kate Beckinsale and all that.
Yeah. All right. Now is a good time to recap.
Yeah.
Because we got the Connery films done and...
Decide and Lazenby.
Yes. So far we have one S movie that is Goldfinger.
Mm-hmm.
3 A movies, Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Mm-hmm.
1 B movie in Thunderball.
Yeah.
2 C movies in You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever. And 2 D movies in the second Casino Royale iteration and Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
All right. Now it is time to move on to my personal favorite Bond and my childhood Bond. I mentioned that Diamonds Are Forever was a childhood Bond movie for me, but as far as a childhood Bond who I'd seen the most movies of as a younger person.
As a
youngin', is Roger Moore.
Yeah.
And I think we both agree that he is the funniest. I think he has the most natural comedy out of all the Bond movies. Would you agree?
Yeah,
out of all the Bond actors?
He is. He puts himself in the goofiest situations, and his movies are just naturally a lot funnier.
Yeah. Starting out, we have Live and Let Die. This is the one that this is actually, speaking of Live and Let Die, this is one of the movies that TJ and I were questioning whether we were going to watch before this to familiarize ourselves a little bit more with, because it had been a while since we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do that, but like I said, we still remember a decent amount of it. So
yeah, I remember the ideas of it.
And like I said, we're doing our best here. We can't rewatch all of them, the ones that we have not the greatest memory with. We can't do all of them, so we just did what we could. But like I said, we'll work with what we got.
We've seen a few of these, so
yeah. So we have Live and Let Die. I think
I want to say this is a B for me.
I want to say that too. I think I want to say that because there was no glaring flaws with it. No, there wasn't. There were flaws, but they weren't glaring to the point where it needed to be knocked down to a C, where you're dealing with You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah. I think it establishes Roger Moore as a good Bond, and I think I like the change of scenery where it's based in America.
Yes. Was it Louisiana, right? Or is it Florida?
I think it might be both. Like they might move to.
I think it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's down in the marshy.
Yeah, the
areas, the South.
And like the weird voodoo esque kind of factor in it. It's definitely an interesting change of pace. It
is, and you do, and I love that point, which is it is dealing with not only a totally different geographical location, but like you said, the voodoo, it's totally different.
Yeah,
it's refreshing because we were familiar with all these Sean Connery specific total world globe-trotting, thank you, globe-trotting films, but this one was very much almost a central location with the South, and all the culture, the rich culture, the way they were able to incorporate that into the story, I think was really cool too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. I think it's a B.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Bond could have gotten around just walking around New Orleans asking about voodoo. like Gabriel Knight, and would have figured it out eventually.
Dude, and those funeral scenes were popping, bro. They were popping.
I can't remember that.
Remember they would go down the street with the caskets and they would be jamming out on the trumpets and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I think they do it twice.
I remember they do that in The Cincinnati Kid.
Oh, yeah, they do that too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Moving on to
Man with the
Golden Gun.
This is another one I don't know how to feel on. I remember that this one somehow made it to the end of my Bond ranking in general. Not because it's a bad movie, it's just because I don't feel like it stacks up as well against some of the other stuff. I go like maybe like C.
I think a C too.
Yeah.
I was flirting with a B, but what made me put it to a C was me realizing that I kind of still want to be a little harsh. I just don't want to be super giving. And if we were doing how iconic the Bond film was, an iconic ranking, this would be even possibly an A, because just the Golden Gun prop and that whole villain is extremely iconic. Yeah, but
Christopher Lee,
yeah. But super as cool. A film, as a Bond film,
I find it weirdly forgettable. Like it's not bad. I mean, rating wise, it's actually not. It doesn't have the highest. I want to say it only has like a 30 or 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. As a movie, it's not that bad. It's enjoyable. It gets the job done. And there's some cool moments with Christopher Lee, and like a lot of the ideas put forth are really cool. Just the movie is, it just doesn't stack up as well against some of the other stuff.
Yeah. All right. That is a C. Next, we have The Spy Who Loved Me.
I love this movie.
Same here. To me, this is a turning point for Roger Moore and just the Bond franchise as a whole, because we get my favorite Bond girl.
Yes.
We finally, thank the Lord, finally have a Bond girl that was actually given good lines and a good story and wasn't there because she's a Bond girl. Yeah. I love that. It added a whole new dimension to the film and made it 10 times more interesting.
Yeah.
Than
I mean, there are a few. I like the Bond girl from Russia and On Her Majesty's, because I feel like they do have some. Some of them do have some more to do, but like they're more plot focused. But where the one with Dr. No, it feels like she's kind of just thrown in there. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair comments on those other two, but
I feel
still,
like it's a spectrum. It gets. I feel like there's either they're thrown in there for no reason, they're kind of central to the plot, but they don't have that much going on, and then they have like the other end, which is like Spy Who Loved Me. That's what I was going for. And I think this is the first one of that one end where they actually are capable and actually do things that actually make sense.
Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying, but I still do think there is a significant jump with this character, because
that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, it is truly a spectrum of like, either have characters that are there for no reason and are just kind of there, and then there's ones that are capable. And I think there's some that are like from that era that are kind of in the middle. Like I feel like Diana Rigg from On Her Majesty does have a little more to do with the plot than like the Dr. No girl. It feels like halfway through they kind of just throw her in because she's like, why not? Where she's like, I mean, it's one of the like starting off points for the movie, and then it progresses through the movie. So I think there is like, there are some like better ones, but I think this Spy Who Loved Me is the first like truly great one.
Where would you place it?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen this one, so I don't really remember everything. I just remember I really liked it when I watched it.
I'm thinking we should give it an A.
I'm totally here for it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a fun movie. Jaws is a great addition as a good side villain. The idea of the villain and his hideout and all that.
It's definitely one of the more outlandish.
It's outlandish, but like it still has like its iconicness.
Oh, like, for sure.
The idea of like I mean, Jaws just in general, big goofy villain.
I don't know the name of that actor, but the job he does in this one and then Moonraker is it's so else. Fitting, and the way he conforms to the plot and the Bond character, it's such a nice foil, and
it's super fun.
He knows what he's doing, and he gets the job done.
Yeah.
And is pretty much and is the most iconic Bond henchman.
I'd say so. Yeah. Him or Oddjob,
Yeah, those two. All right, Moonraker,
which
also, like we just said, just has Jaws. This one was a product of the time, considering Star Wars pretty much came out recently.
What year did this movie come out?
Let's see, Moonraker. 79.
Okay, yeah.
So it came out, and the Bond franchise being the marketing giant it is, and the zeitgeist, trying to capture the zeitgeist, the franchise that is, decided, you know what, we need to make our own Star Wars movie. Sort of.
Form of Thunderball.
And they did that, in the form of Moonraker.
I don't know why I said Thunderball.
Which worked, I will say, worked a lot better than I thought it would have. It actually...
It's decent.
It still doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's goofy. It's stupid.
But at least from a set design perspective, it actually did look cool. I'll give it that.
It looks cool, and I mean, it's a fun watch. Is it a great movie? I saw someone say that this is the worst movie of the 70s at one point. It's not.
Oh, okay. That person needs to get their brain checked out.
I was just like, it's not that bad. Like, I don't mind it. I think it's a fun time. It's definitely, I think it's where the series truly really shows some of its very stupid side, with the idea of Bond going to space, the guy's villain, or the guy's like thing being in space, and like the ending of the movie is so goofy. I'd give it a C.
Yeah, I would too. I would give it a C.
It's enjoyable. I like it, but I don't think it's a masterpiece.
It totally has the you only live twice vibe.
It's
1,000%.
Yeah, it's you only live twice of, I'd say of I almost said Pierce Brosnan. Not that. I always forget Roger Moore's name. I don't know why.
Huh. Well, considering he's my favorite Bond, TJ, you are off the podcast. See you later.
It's not that I don't like him or anything. It's just it's weird. It's the only name that does stick with me.
It's weird. I'll have that with random actors. Actors that are super big that I just totally blank the name on.
Yeah.
50% of the time, and even though I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's bizarre.
Next, we have my personal favorite. This is, oh my gosh, this is such a homer pick for me. I don't know if I should even rank this. I love it so much, but is For Your Eyes Only, which is literally the definition of my childhood Bond movie experience. I've watched this one by far the most. I watched this a lot as a child, and when I mean a child, I mean middle school, but whatever, same thing.
Same gag.
Same
area.
Yeah, area. I love this one because they finally gave Roger Moore the Sean Connery treatment, and they actually kind of gave him a relatively honed down and more realistic plot and movie.
Yeah. I like it. It's, I mean, I'd say it's a solid number 2 for me for Roger Moore.
What do you have as number 1? The Spy? Who
Spy, yeah. I enjoyed this one a lot. It is one of the ones I'm a little fuzzy on. I do remember really liking it. I think it's really well done. I'd give it an A.
I would too. I also want to point out that it gets darker, which is really nice because none of Roger Moore's movies got as dark as there's the specific moment I'm talking about. Yes,
I think so.
Yeah. So there is a moment where it genuinely gets dark for pretty much all standards of Bond films, including the Craig ones. And I loved that. And I wish we saw more of it because yes, Roger Moore is extremely funny, but I thought he handled himself well when it needed to get serious.
Yeah. That's one I definitely need to rewatch. I've been meaning to in general. It's definitely like top of the rewatch list. Yeah, I'll have to do that soon.
Mm-hmm. Next we have Octopussy. This is, I'm going to say it right away, it is definitely a C.
C. It's goofy. It's stupid. We love it.
Yeah, goofy, stupid. We love it. Roger Moore gets in a crocodile suit, sort of.
Doesn't he also dress up as a clown?
Dresses up as a clown. Has a wild chase sequence where he's in a cart.
Oh yeah, the tuk-tuk?
Yes. And it's insanity. It is really something else. Again, a great film to show the group, which we did. We showed them this one and the next one, which is A View to a Kill.
I wasn't there for when we watched Octopussy as a group. I had work.
Yeah, you had work.
I got there halfway through A View to a Kill.
Yes. And speaking of A View to a Kill, I'm sure you're fine with moving on from Octopussy.
Oh, yeah. It's stupid. We love it. That's the exact reason we're putting it there.
I'll say right away that Christopher Walken is not by far, but he is my favorite Bond villain.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Oh my gosh. The way he laughs and is shooting the Uzi at the end of the movie is
insanity. I love it.
It's amazing. And everything you'd want from the chaotic side of Christopher Walken as an actor is shown.
Yes.
And it couldn't have come at a better time in his career, honestly. I think it was a perfect time for him, and he adds not necessarily top tier acting, but but decent acting, but mostly just going absolutely crazy. Oh, speaking of TJ, yes, I saw TJ look back at it. Literally right behind TJ is the poster of View to a Kill.
Yeah. And
the reason it's there is because we do love this film.
It's fantastic. We love it.
It's great. First of all, TJ, what are your thoughts on A View to a Kill?
I think it's hilariously stupid. I think it's like Octopussy in that, like, when you want the stupidest Bond movie in terms of like quality, turn this on. It is so stupid.
Yeah.
I love it. It doesn't take anything seriously. It's just so all over the place, and I love it.
I think this is a C.
A C? What I was gonna say, I think quality wise it's a C, but I think if we were going like, I'd be fine giving it a B, honestly, because I think we love it so much.
All right, yeah,
I think it's one of those ones that's like, quality wise, C any day.
Yeah,
but I think as a movie we love it so much.
Yeah, I think I'm fine because I do like I said, Christopher Walken's fantastic, but I don't know. Unless
if you want to give it a C, I'm totally fine with anything.
I'm thinking I'm okay with giving it a B, but I do want to say that it could totally be a C because I'm looking at the B movies, and Thunderball and Live and Let Die have
vast superiority to
in plot. Oh, this will work though.
Hell yeah!
I couldn't fit the taco hat on my head, by the way, for those that are wondering, and have been catching on to the fact that I've been switching hats out every break, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's just going to chill here instead. Hopefully it doesn't fall off. And hopefully you can't hear that sound, because the mic's pointing at me, so hopefully you can't hear a lot of it. But yes, my computer is a jet airliner right now.
Yeah, it's a jet airliner taking off.
It is. It is. It just loves Bond movies so much that it's just hyperventilating.
It's very excited.
It is very excited. All right. We're actually done with the Roger Moore stuff.
Yeah, we're into Timothy Dalton land.
We are, so I'll do another recap.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'll just do the recap of the Roger Moore stuff because, yeah.
You want to just do Dalton because it's only 2 movies?
Good point. All right, we have TJ's favorite Bond of all time.
Yes, I love Timothy Dalton. This is my equivalent for Roger Moore for you. I don't know why. I love Timothy Dalton. I like his more serious tone. I think his movies are great. Your computer is really struggling right now.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love License to Kill. Or at least I remember. I think it's just okay. But I love The Living Daylights. And I think he's a great precursor to Daniel Craig. And I think it's one of those things where if you want a classic Bond movie, you want that Daniel Craig vibe, watch a Timothy Dalton.
Ditto to that. And if anything, I appreciate him because he added something that no other Bond actor had done, not even Connery, which is, again, that more serious vibe.
Yeah, it's a different flavor.
It is a different flavor. His first movie, which is...
Living Daylights.
The Living Daylights, great Bond song.
Oh, yeah. Same with View to a Kill.
Same with View to a Kill. Yeah, View to a Kill, that is... I think that... Oh, no, my favorite Bond song is Nobody Does It Better, which is for Your Eyes Only. But... Like I said, those two are great too.
Oh yeah.
What I need to remind myself. So the Living Daylights. You remember which one was the one with the violinist?
Living Daylights.
Okay, that's okay. So
yeah,
that's
Living Daylights is the one where it ends and they're in the desert and they're hanging out of the plane, and then what's the other one? License to Kill is the one where it's
Benicio.
It's where Timothy Dalton's on his vengeance quest. Against drug lords.
Damn, these two movies kind of slap.
They honestly do. License to Kill, I think, is just okay. The concept of it's really cool.
Yeah,
and I think
the opening is really cool.
Yes, there are some. I mean, the ending chase is really cool and all that. The set pieces are awesome. And I think the idea of it's awesome. I think there's some parts where it really struggles with identity, where it's just it doesn't. Some parts don't know what it wants to be.
I think The Living Daylights is an A.
I'd give it an A. I'd say that one A, and then I'd go License to Kill B.
Yeah. With the way the identity of each category, yes.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, it remains true even without that, yeah.
You should put License to Kill in C.
Oh, did I meant to put it... Wait, what? I meant to put it in B, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I love The Living Daylights. It's it has that globetrotting feel, but it's action packed. It's cool. It's darker. Has the ghetto blaster.
John, our friend John, me and TJ religiously watched that clip for a solid 2 months
because it's hilarious.
It's kind of epic.
I love it.
Oh my gosh! All right, that is recap time.
Yeah, post Dalton.
So. I'm just going to recap the Roger Moore and Dalton movies. I'm going to take this off because it's just going to fall off anyway.
Yeah.
In A, we have The Living Daylights, The Spy Who Loved Me, For Your Eyes Only.
Mm-hmm.
In B, we have Live and Let Die, A View to a Kill, License to Kill. And in C, we have The Man with the Golden Gun, Moonraker, and Octopussy. Those are the categories that are filled with the Dalton and Moore Bond movies.
Yeah.
Now it's time to move on to our good old guy, Pierce.
Pierce Brosnan.
This might be the biggest what if in the Bond franchise is what if Pierce Brosnan actually got good writing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say some of the bigger ones are, him if he had consistently good movies. George Lazenby if he kept going. That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they would have held off on Roger Moore, and
well, see, that's another thing we should mention. Roger Moore was actually the very, very first pick for the Broccoli's before Sean Connery for Dr. No, and I think because Roger Moore had other contract obligations with the show.
Yeah, he had to.
He had to bow out, and oddly enough, that's the same thing with Pierce. Pierce was going to take over after Moore, but he had contract disputes with Remington Steele, that television show.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it. So then Dalton had to step in for 2 movies, and I can't remember do you remember why Dalton quit?
No.
Or why Dalton left?
I don't know. I don't know if people didn't like the darker tone, or if it was.
I know they were bad. They were poorly recepted. I know that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think they're ones that have really garnered that almost cult classic quality, where it's everyone's kind of taking them in with this over time, and we'll get them with a different eye.
Dude, Lazenby's cult following is wild.
It's insanity.
It is. It really is. All right. Yeah, like I said, we're on Brosnan here.
Yeah. Goldeneye.
Goldeneye is easily an A.
Easily an A.
It is extremely iconic.
Oh yeah, it's
there are so many great action moments in this film.
Yeah, I'd say it's great because it almost like streamlines Bond movies. It's a Bond movie for like an everyday action movie person. I mean, Bond movies are already pretty easy, but like there's something about GoldenEye that's just like the way it moves and it just feels. It almost just feels like more of like an action blockbuster than it does a Bond movie.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's not that the other Bond movies aren't action movies, because they do have action in them, but this one really did feel like a hardcore... Movie. Am I watching Die Hard right now sort of vibe? Or am I watching an 80s action movie right now? Because
big 80s action movie vibes.
That is exactly what it emits. And I love the whole... Because what are they're fighting on? It's a satellite? What's that big dish thing? Or what is it?
It's something like that, yeah.
But the whole thing with Sean Bean... By the way, great performance from Sean Bean, too. Nice addition to...
Yeah, he's great.
006.
Pierce Brosnan is fantastic. It shows like what he can do.
I love his sort of ambitious and loud yet quiet introduction, because it's him jumping off the dam.
The first like 15 minutes are awesome.
It has that Indiana Jones vibe at the start of Raiders, where you don't see him for a while, and then
he jumps off of a dam.
Yeah, and then you finally get a close-up on his face after he's done some stuff, and you're like, oh, hey, so this is the new guy.
Yeah, so he can do stuff.
Well, I'm sorry for Pierce, but after GoldenEye, there's not much to love as far as, at least in my opinion, of his other 3 Bond movies. They just, I said it before, the writing is not good in any metric, in any way. I never latched on to any of them. I mean, there were definitely meme moments that I latched on to.
Yeah.
But I think all of them are C's for me.
C's?
Yeah. Do you have a B in there?
I'd agree on C. Okay. I thought you were going to throw them all in D, and I was like,
no. I don't think there's is there a D one in there? I don't know. In
my opinion, no. I think they're cringy, but that's what makes them enjoyable in a way. Where Die Another Day is easily the worst of the bunch. But there's like, it's so over the top and funny that I find it really funny and enjoyable. Out of the 3, there's Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. I personally like The World Is Not Enough the most. I rewatched that one. Maybe
that's the one with the boat.
That's the one about the beginning with Denise Richards and
Christmas Jones.
Yeah, I think it's Roger Carlyle's in it. Robert, I think that's his name. I don't know why. I think it's kind of enjoyable. I have to rewatch the other ones because I'm interested in Michelle Yeoh in her movie.
Yeah, she's great. I've recently been more aware of her as an actress because of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and also because TJ and I just watched the 3rd Police Story movie, which she absolutely kills it in.
Yeah.
And literally goes toe-to-toe with Jackie Chan himself, which is extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to rewatch that film purely for her.
Yeah. I definitely do want to revisit those, Tomorrow Never Dies, which is hers, and then Die Another Day. Because I remember it being kind of cringy, but I still found it really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, where your wind glides on the wave, cinema. Beautiful. Art. I've officially broke John. He's officially left the room. Okay, well, I guess I am carrying this podcast now. Oh, shit. All right. I'm over here now. So this is what the computer looks like. Casino Royale.
Casino Royale.
S.
If someone does not give this movie an S, they are high. What to say about this film? It totally went against the Bond formula in pretty much every metric.
It's awesome.
And nailed it. exceptional acting, an interesting plot despite the lack of action for a lot of people. I mean, we are totally interested in movies that have basically no action, but
it's awesome
for a Bond movie to have as little action as it does, which there still is quite a bit, because you have the opening.
Oh yeah.
Not the opening, but right after
the
chase in, where are they, in South Africa or
somewhere in there?
Somewhere in there, and then you have some stuff at the end, but and little pieces here and there. But for the most part, it is just a complete detour from what Goldfinger had set up, and it's going right next to Goldfinger in S.
Yeah, it reinvented the series in a cool way. I mean, I love it. It's always been my favorite Bond movie. It's fantastic. I love it.
Mads Mikkelsen is great.
Yes.
Some of the confrontations that he has with Craig on the what is it? Not pool table.
The cards table?
Cards table is just, it feels like two top dogs going at it.
It's awesome.
It's great. Two high intellectual people just going at it. And this film showed Bond's smarts in a little bit of a different light, which was nice too. Also, we finally got sort of a more origin story for Bond, because we actually get to see him get his 00 status. We get to see his second kill.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a nice, like, first mission style kind of movie. And I think it does a good job setting up the story for the Craig era, because his is the first that's like a true story.
Mm-hmm. And doubles down on kind of what Timothy Dalton created, which was the more serious,
darker tone
and sincere Bond character.
Yeah, super cool.
Super cool. And also, by far, the most the physicality that he brings to that character, as far as just right. Because before, the Bond guys were a little bit more elegant, and they sort of hop over stuff, or kind of squeeze through things,
but still not too crazy.
But Daniel Craig's character could care less. He just kind of runs through things, and
it's awesome.
It's awesome. I think the best example of that is literally
the opening,
our introduction, when he runs through the construction wall instead of trying to go around it. So great stuff from him. And also shout out to, who plays Vesper Lind?
Oh God, I can't remember.
Eva Green, right?
Eva Green, yeah.
Builds off of the Bond girl in The Spy Who Loved Me, and
that kind of vibe, yeah.
That kind of vibe, but even more so. There's that super emotional shower scene.
Mm-hmm.
And something like that sort of intimate connection had never been really captured in that way with Craig and Green. Because in other Bond movies, if that situation presented itself, they would just sleep together or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is, whatever.
Product of the time.
But this one was really cool because they actually had an emotional connection to each other outside of just, hey, you want to sleep with me, sort of thing.
Pretty much.
Then we move on to,
Quantum of Solace.
Interesting movie. It has a lot more action and oftentimes cool action.
Yeah.
Than Casino, but
story-wise, it sucks.
It sucks story-wise, and the CGI is not good,
and the editing is bad.
Now, I will defend it a little and say that there was a writer's strike going on, so they were literally coming up with things to do on set to get this movie going, which sounds like hell.
Yes.
But nonetheless, we still have to take it for what it is. We still have to take it in full.
I still enjoy this movie, though. I think I'd put it, like, near the, I wouldn't say middle, but, like, maybe, like, a third of the way in, or 3/4 of the way through my ranking. Like, it's not bottom, but it's getting there. I'd say, like,
I'm questioning. I really don't want to say that. I feel like I'm pondering C.
C? Oh yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, okay.
It's not D level.
No.
God no. It's a lot more enjoyable than some of the ones we have in there. I stand by Quantum of Solace. I like it.
Yeah, I don't want to be. I want to be clear. I love all the Bond movies.
I think the first time I watched it, I honestly liked it more than Spectre.
Ooh, that's I don't agree with that. But
that was the first time I watched it. That was a long time ago.
I just think the cinema. I think there's just so many more artistic components to Spectre that is better than Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, I don't know. The first time I watched Spectre, I didn't click with it. I was like, it's fine. Now I like it. I like it a lot more now. Now that I watched it a second time before No Time to Die not too long ago, and I liked it a lot more, a lot more. But I don't know. The first time I just didn't click with it, and I didn't. I think I had them back to back in my ranking because I felt very equal about both of them. Where I was like, they're fine. I don't know. I just enjoyed Quantum more.
The homage to Goldfinger 2 was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for Quantum. Next we have Skyfall.
Nice one, Adele.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For me, this is an S.
Ooh, I put it in A.
Okay. All right. Throw down. No, I think it's S because it is just some incredible cinematography. I think not by far, but the best cinematography out of any Bond film in existence.
Yeah.
I think Javier Bardem is off the frickin' chain. I think his acting is, oh my gosh. The one scene, there's that one kind of monologue that he goes into when he's in the jail cell about kind of M losing faith in him and kind of losing attachment to him and how he was yearning for her love and her and the relationship she has with 007 that he just never got. It's just so emotional. The opening is jaw-dropping and just him. I won't say it, I guess, because that is technically still kind of a spoiler. But I don't know why don't you think it belongs in S instead of A?
I don't know. I've always felt.
I'll leave it here for a second.
This is. I don't know. I don't want to say this. I felt like this movie was a little overhyped. I don't know.
The music is great too. The ending, the way M gets sent off too, where she has that really emotional moment with Bond to end things, and I love how they get away from the city and they get kind of to his home, and it's kind of like a Home Alone vibe, but also just, hey, we've been in this area for the last bajillion Bond movies. Yeah, let's kind of get a little unique and go out to the country. I don't know.
I'd give it an S. I don't know.
How about, okay, maybe here's what we'll do.
I'll give it an S.
Okay, you give it an S?
I don't know. For me, originally, I did not like this one nearly as much as Skyfall. Or not Skyfall. As Casino. I liked it definitely top 5, and I think, but I think I liked Casino so much more, and I thought the Casino was a little more untouchable in my opinion. And I think that it's cool and action's cool and all that, and it looks phenomenal. But I don't know. There's just something about it that I originally would have put it a little lower.
Okay,
but I totally agree with an S for this.
I just think I'll say this. My final thoughts are I think there's a good argument for both S and A for sure.
Yeah,
I think there's the reason why I think it should stay in S is there's so much creativity and excellence in kind of the staple departments when you're talking about what great movies are. And I just think I look at these A films and I think better. I don't know.
Yeah. The best thing I can say is I think Sam Mendes took what worked with stuff like GoldenEye, where it was a lot more simple, and he kind of upped it for 2010s. He made it a 2010s action movie while also like making it something unique and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I know there are people that think it's like, I know a lot of people say it's like one of the best action movies they've ever seen. I can see that. I can see why. I don't know. I just don't have that same sentiment. I I think I like it, and I think it's really good. I don't know. I'm not as high on that like front.
Yeah, I have an interesting roller coaster ride with this film because when I first watched it, I thought, "Oh, this is better than Casino Royale," and then I kind of realized, okay, Casino Royale is a better movie than this. And then I went back to, wait a second, and this is after me hearing opinions about other people's thoughts on it, and kind of sitting down and comparing the two. I think Casino Royale is still a better movie than Skyfall, but I don't think the margin is large enough that Skyfall should be sent down to an A, because I think Casino Royale 1 is that good of a film.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And 2, I just think they're I mean, what do you think are the flaws of Skyfall? I
don't know.
I think there are. I will say there are some story flaws with Skyfall. I don't think they're that, and I think they're made up by Javier Bardem's character and his purpose in the film. I think that kind of covers it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just originally wasn't as high on it. I like it. I still love this movie. I think it's fantastic. But I don't know. I just don't think it's like as goated as everyone thinks it is.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
it's my Guardians of the Galaxy of this series.
Yeah.
Except I like this one a lot more than I like Guardians.
Here's what we'll do.
That being said,
bottom line is
S,
and since I gave you one, you can give me one.
Yeah. Well, I was going to keep it in S anyway.
Okay. All right. Next we have Spectre.
B.
Yeah, I put it in B as well. Also great cinematography. Not quite as good as Skyfall, but still good.
Yeah, well, I mean, they hired two modern banger cinematographers back.
Speaking of Nope, speaking of Nope, same cinematographer for Nope and Spectre.
Yeah.
Put in B.
It's fine.
Reintroduction of Spectre, and, well, technically it was hinted at in films prior, but true reintroduction of Spectre.
Yeah.
And Blofeld, played by Christoph Waltz, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
He has some great moments in this film, and some great locales, too.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
And they have the Guinness World Record in this film for the biggest explosion, I believe, right?
I think so. I think it's
on a movie or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just some great stuff. Sam Mendes came back for a second time. Now, this is my hot take. And TJ is definitely not going to agree with me on this, but I think No Time to Die is an S.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd give No Time to Die an S more than Skyfall.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, you actually... So do you... Well, first of all, do you agree it's an S? Like, if I hadn't told you that, you think it's an S?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That was... All right, a lot easier than I thought it was going to have to be. Okay. Yeah, I think with... And you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm going to move Skyfall to an A. The reason I'm going to move Skyfall back down to an A is because I realized how much more sound No Time to Die is for me than Skyfall.
Yeah.
I think so. Too bad there's not a category between S and A, because that's where I'd put it.
Yeah.
But, or I don't know. I'll say this, because I know we got to talk about No Time to Die, and then, but I'll just say this about Skyfall. For me, it's one of those films where one day it would be an S and one day it would be an A.
Yeah, I'd say same here. Yeah.
Okay.
I go back and forth on it all the time. It's one of those movies for me.
So, and I think, No Time to Die for me was... I cannot talk about this film highly enough.
It's awesome.
It is... Oh my gosh. It's one of those films that I legitimately get chills talking about it, because for the longest time, and for good reason, Daniel Craig movies had gone against the grain with the Bond formula. You know, big grand sets, kind of grand and somewhat unrealistic plots. But this one goes into that hard.
Yeah.
With Wall still incorporating the realism that came with the Craig character and the Craig plots. And it worked extremely well. Mm-hmm. And the payoff that we got with a lot of the moments that were built up to before this were, I mean, it was a mixture that it worked from the start, and it just it never missed.
Yeah, I feel like this is another one that it really challenges what it means to be a Bond movie, because there's parts of this movie that are very much not Bond movies. Like it has a lot more comedy to it. It just feels like it's doing a lot more. It feels like it's incorporating Bond movies into other things as well. Kind of like a Casino Royale did. But we saw this in the theater for our first Bond movie there. Absolute insanity. We loved it.
Beautifully shot too. Who shoots this?
I don't remember. I mean, it's a damn good movie. It's for being almost 3 hours, it flies by, and the action is fantastic. The writing, just like the emotion to it. I mean, the last 40 minutes of that movie go so hard, and I love it. So hard. The transition into and out of the Bond song. Oh yeah,
it is so polished. And I remember when we were all in the theater, we were watching it, I turned to Parker and I turned to everyone, and I just had that expression like, oh my,
it's awesome.
Gosh, the way they use the OG Dr. No dots.
Yeah, the nostalgia is also
and when
there.
No Time to Die kicks in, the song, Billie Eilish's song, one best song at the Oscars. And then the way it transitions out to the guys on the side of the building with I don't know if it's a sunset or sunrise, one of the two.
Like that, yeah.
Is just...
It's awesome.
Like I said, one of the best ways to describe this film is just sound. It is from beginning to end.
It's awesome.
There's so many ways this film could have gone wrong with how much they're dealing with and how many different characters they are returning to and bringing in.
Yeah. And
different places they have to go to reach the ending. But it never stumbled, and that's incredibly hard to do, like I said, with what they were doing with the DNA
thing,
virus thing, and it just, oh my gosh, it was really pleasing to watch, and I feel even more confident putting it here because you and I even watched this one recently together. We decided to watch it here at my house, and our opinions didn't change on it as far as what we thought about it. It was still awesome. Consistently awesome. And one thing you mentioned, TJ, was it brought in a lot of new characteristics to it, and one that I wanted to shout out, which I mean, there is a lot of action in Bond, but the one scene where he's in the forest, it was action, but it felt like a Jason Bourne movie or something like that.
Yes, it really did truly feel like a different kind of movie, which is cool. Casino and Skyfall established like a kind of action, and I feel like it even turned that on its head in some ways. And that, I mean, awesome. That and like the stairwell fight. I mean, the fight on the boat. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. The cinematographer is Linus Sandgren. He has done movies like Promised Land, First Man, which I heard is shot beautifully, No Time to Die, La La Land.
Okay.
And American Hustle is another one.
Okay, so he's worked with Damien
Don't Look
Chazelle.
Up as well, but that one is I heard TJ you said is not that great as far as cinematography.
It's fine. It's your average Adam McKay movie.
Yeah, but he did shoot La La Land, and I can kind of see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
And I've heard First Man is beautiful as far as cinematography is concerned.
Same.
All right. Well,
to cap it off,
what do you mean?
Just run
recap
through again. Yeah.
All right. This is our official list, which
the Manic Movie Misfits Bond tier list.
That is correct. And maybe we'll save these on our on the Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Have a section where we can save them on like a guide or something.
Yeah, we can post it, and then we could do like something with the stories or something.
Mm-hmm. So recapping it, S, we have 3 movies. We have Goldfinger, Casino Royale, and No Time to Die. In A, we have Dr. No, From Russia with Love, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Spy Who Loved Me, For Your Eyes Only, The Living Daylights, Skyfall, and Goldeneye. In B, we have Thunderball, Live and Let Die, A View to a Kill, License to Kill, and Spectre. In C, we have You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever, The Man with the Golden Gun, Moonraker, Octopussy, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, Die Another Day, and Quantum of Solace. And in D, we have the second iteration of Casino Royale that was made in the 60s.
Yeah, comedy one.
And the remake of Thunderball, Never Say Never Again. That is the tier list. TJ, is there anything that you want to say about how we rank these films, or any observations on just where we placed them?
Not really. I think I agree with where we put everything. I mean, I love all these movies for all their own little reasons, and I mean, we watch them all the time and all that, so can't go wrong with any of them. Everything's fun, everything's great. They're good watches.
They really are, and I can't wait to finish our second binge, because we are doing that.
Yeah, soon enough.
Unfortunately, we wanted to do a whole kind of series with Parker, which, as you have probably seen if you've been listening to us for a while, we started doing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Parker's going to leave us. He's going out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be Indiana Jones. So we won't be able to finish it for a while. Who knows? Maybe when he comes back, we will do that. But yeah, that is our tier list. I'm really happy that we have the same opinion on No Time to Die. I didn't know you liked it that much.
Oh yeah, of course I do.
Oh. That's good to know.
Yeah, for me, yeah, it's definitely a top 5 of me.
Because
easy.
The critics were not nearly as high on it as...
I feel like that's been a weird consistency recently, where it's like movies that that like we really like and that I think are very have a very big following, have only gotten like 85%ish on Rotten Tomatoes. Like No Time to Die was like that. Nope is like that. The Batman, stuff like that, where it's like they got a little bit lower of a score, even though they're the things that everyone likes. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, and also we should mention this was just a great tier list to start off with, considering how much we love them.
Yeah,
and that we are going to do more of these. This is just the start. One of the next sort of tier lists that I want to do is trilogies. Because I think that'd be fun. There's a couple more I want to wrap up for me personally, and then I think we should definitely do that.
Oh yeah, I'm totally here for it.
And also Batman movies, because we're closing in on those too.
Yeah, Batman movies. We could do like directors.
Yes, that's a good one. Well, that'd be a real fun one.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah, just
Star Trek movies.
Star Trek movies. And if any of you guys have any ideas for the 3 people that are listening,
the MCU.
That one we will definitely do once we do our MCU rewatch, which I'm
totally down to start that back up.
Yeah, we should do that.
Iron Man 2, we're coming for you.
Iron Man 2, and what's the one after Iron Man 2?
Thor,
because I think we're going to do them in groups of 2, if that works.
Yeah, it'd be those 2, and then to finish out Phase 1, it'd be Captain America 1 and Avengers.
That's actually perfect how that works out.
It's really weirdly how it works out.
Yeah,
and then
and yeah. So again, we hope you enjoyed. This was fun.
Yeah,
my favorite movie franchise. We will both talk to anyone about Bond.
Oh yeah,
at any moment. They're great. We hope the Broccolis choose a good actor Bond for the next Bond.
Oh yeah.
Have we got any news on that?
Not really. All they said was that the next Bond series is going to be like a big transition. But then again, we talked about this, just the two of us. That's what Craig was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're like going back to almost an old style or like reinventing it somehow again, or what they're going to do. But it'll be interesting.
It will be. Well, on that note, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Manic Movie Misfits podcast.
Yeah.
Have a good Wednesday or whenever you're watching this. And we will catch you on Sunday.
Yeah.
Where I might be with the boys, aka Calvin and John. We are going to be on a little vacation, and we might be talking about the best movies in or around bodies of water. So our favorite movies, clearly the best one.
Obviously.
It'll be a fun one. So with that being said, thanks for watching or listening.
Yeah.
You can catch us on YouTube too. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the podcast. Peace.
See ya.
There's just no time to die. There's just no time to die.
Have you turned into the Billie Eilish?
Yeah. Yes.